Hey, it's Endymion, and today there's a lot to go over when it comes to Marvel Rivals, as the game has yet again caught itself in a somewhat annoying political point yet again, as a mod was removed for allegedly being too political. Beyond this, the Fantastic Four are coming, and the response from fans of Rivals is proving that NetEase is genuinely trying to steal the spotlight and future entirely from Overwatch going forward. And a journalist believes that Rivals is too content-rich, too polished, and contains too many A-listers already, and they believe that this will harm the future of the game. And Disney's new Spider-Man TV show is an activist's wet dream, but first let's talk about Marvel Rivals. The game is just killing it. I've successfully completed everything and obtained all the free skins I could so far. I'm just about level 20 on my profile, and I've started to try new heroes out that I never gotten around to, like Namor or Hulk, and it's crazy how much fun everyone is to play. One of my favorites is actually Captain America. I find his style to be really fun to play around with. Sure, he doesn't hit the hardest, but he's a tank that is more so about disrupting everything around him and staying alive while your teammates secure the kills from your assists. I enjoy him a lot. And recently, a user named Akamori has created a mod for Rivals which puts President Donald Trump's head on Captain America's body, if you can believe it. The footage you're seeing on screen here is Akamori showcasing the mod, which is honestly, it's more funny than anything else. I don't really find it offensive to want to put Trump's head on Captain America. I think a Nancy Pelosi head on Scarlet Witch would be hilarious too. I think these sorts of mods are just made in good fun to create goofy moments for people to see on social media to brighten up their day. It's not necessarily a political statement, it's just a simple head swap to Trump. It doesn't do anything offensive. But people started to ask how soon until Nexus Mods, like they always do, ends up removing the Trump Captain America skin from their website. Well, it only took a few mere hours, but it's already dead and gone. At this point, it shouldn't surprise me that Nexus Mods has gone and done this already, considering they've been very vocally against pretty much anything on their website that doesn't lean either left or center at best. If anything is even slightly conservative on Nexus Mods, that stuff gets banned into the Shadow Realm almost immediately every single time. This wouldn't be the first time Nexus Mods has purposely shown the community that they're definitely left-leaning either. Back in 2023, Nexus Mod also removed a mod from their website that allowed players to remove pronouns from the character creation screen in Starfield, which prompted huge backlash when that game first released, and Nexus Mod said the mod was not inclusive and was considered borderline hate speech, which is ridiculous. And that wasn't even all of it. The more egregious example of Nexus Mods proving their political bias was when a user made a mod that replaced all the pride flags in-game with American flags in Insomniac's Spider-Man. That mod got rejected pretty damn quickly too. And even more than that, Nexus Mods and Mod Database 2 banned the user from their websites for creating that mod for Spider-Man. But this is always the problem we circle back to, which is that these moderation sites should not be imposing their will or ideals onto their users. They are simply websites meant to host and distribute mods for players to access. That's all it ever should be. Moderators on these websites have clearly aligned themselves politically for years at this point and have been pushing a rule for you but not us mentality. Plus, you know it's bad because I can go on Nexus Mods right now and look up mods like these, because they still contain mods like being able to end children's lives in games like Fallout 4 as seen on screen here, which I have to censor. And the creator of this mod, named Abba Loves You, which is a creepy name already, claims their mod makes children mortal and therefore able to be slaughtered by the player whenever they feel like it without remorse. Why is this mod still available on Nexus Mods? How is adding a Donald Trump head to Captain America deemed offensive and bannable, but creating a mod to allow players to abuse kids is not? It's not like it's the only one. This mod here by Xylozi allows players to also end children in Skyrim. They even detail this mod allows for all children of any race within Skyrim to be violently attacked and slaughtered by the player at will. Why is Nexus Mods fine with allowing these mods to stay up on their website? By the way, this one for Skyrim has been up since November 20th, 2011, 9 days after the game officially launched almost 14 years ago at this point. And yet it stayed up and been cultivated as if what it represents or allows is totally fine and not at all a problem. Or this really weird mod by a nice oak tree which allows players to create and overhaul their own children in Fallout 4. This mod also adds diverse hairstyles and skin colors, which that word diverse is probably why they allowed it to be here, let's be real. But it's weird too, because the mod allows children to become settlers at camps. Why are children running around the wasteland in Fallout again? We all know that's super weird and would lead to some very messed up scenarios, yet again, it's kept up despite the fact anyways. And while all of these are allowed to stay up on Nexus Mods for years, by the way, they instead go after the specific mods that go against their ideology or politics. Removing the Spider-Man Pride one is a big red flag already, because Spider-Man is a single player game. It's not like any mods that are created could affect your game if someone else has them installed. I'm sure there's mods to make Spider-Man nude that are still usable too in the game. The point being is that the game is not multiplayer anyway, so these changes wouldn't have any real tangible effects anyways. Although you could make the same argument about the whole ending kids in Fallout and Skyrim, but in that sense those mods are creating scenarios and opportunities to allow players to live out some twisted fantasy that is clearly very, very weird and it involves kids, so it's not the same in my opinion. The Trump thing with Rivals can only really be attacked by stating that the game is a multiplayer game and has paid cosmetics. Therefore, adding a mod that alters the game's primary functions and sources of revenue would be a big no-no, and yeah, I can see that. However, regardless of this, I don't think it's Nexus Mods' right to remove things like this. Now, if NetEase said they don't want it in their game, that's another story. But the fact remains what they're doing here is not protecting anyone from anything that's actually harmful. Adding Trump's face to Captain America would be like adding an American flag mod to say Hulk's shorts or Spider-Man's spider logo. I don't find it offensive if someone wants to show their patriotism, but I do find it weird that every single time someone makes a mod that in some way has a right-leaning slant, they're immediately found and deleted, sometimes within hours of going live. It's either the modding community is full of liberal weirdos flagging whatever they find triggering, or that Nexus Mods simply has keywords that trigger their systems and then alert them to mods based on that, and I would wager that words like Trump, conservative, woke, pronoun, etc. will let them know right away to find and remove these things from their website. All it really is censorship at the end of the day. Even users pushed back on this as well. One user asked Nexus Mods, "Why did you ban the Trump Marvel Rivals mod?" Of course they did not give a response because they know why they did it, they just don't want to answer why. Another user would ask, when did Nexus Mods decide free speech doesn't apply to modders? Banning something as harmless as Trump as Captain America is just ridiculous. It's a fun creative idea that wasn't hurting anyone. It's crazy how fragile some people seem to be when it comes to stuff like this. Gaming used to be about freedom and creativity, but over the last few years it's been bogged down with microtransactions, forced agendas, and unnecessary censorship. Hopefully things are starting to shift because gamers are clearly tired of it. Let people enjoy what they want without all this control. And I agree with this statement 100% because what they're saying is exactly why Nexus Mods won't allow it. It's all about censorship and control. It's the go-to actions of liberal weirdos whenever something happens that they don't like. Tell me where you live, where you work, and your full legal name so I can get you fired and blacklisted for not agreeing with my stupid opinions. That's what they always try to do anyways. Nothing can exist in their minds if it doesn't adhere to their wants and needs first. I guarantee you if someone added a trans flag color scheme to Captain America, Nexus Mods would be promoting it. If they added a trans Hulk skin, Nexus Mods would suddenly go blind and not be able to see it conveniently. Remember too that they have also removed the mod that removed the trigger warning before you booted up Tomb Raider Anniversary in 2024. Which many players found that trigger warning to be stupid anyway, but to Nexus Mods, this is the kind of stuff they want in games going forward, so banned it was. It annoys me to see so many people, especially in my age range, to be so sensitive and pro-censorship these days. Considering what my generation grew up on, I can't fathom how so many of these people are now in positions of varying power levels, being so pro-censorship on everything, especially after the world events that my generation and above have lived through already. Millennials like myself should know that censorship and brainwashing is obviously bad, yet they champion it almost all the time anyway. It baffles me. But I shouldn't be too surprised that the herd mentality can and will consume whoever allows it to feed on. I think the Trump Cap mod is just a harmless celebration mod of a patriotic resurgence in America and across the world right now. People are clearly sick of so much that has become normalized in the past few years too. Trump was seen as a savior of many when it came to changing the world for the better. Wars broke out, billions were given in foreign aid, while ignoring the citizens of America. Every day a new gender got invented, and the demands of these adult-sized child brain activists kept getting weirder as time went on. Trump won, people celebrated, the majority of America voted him in, and even in the face of resounding defeat and rejective ideology, they still can't accept things for what they are. These are the death cries of a dying movement, and they will try to retaliate as much as they possibly can in response, if possible too. But it's clear people aren't having it, and I doubt this will be the last time Nexus Mods does something stupid like this. So I look forward to the next time Nexus Mods inevitably proves to me and everyone else that they are exactly who we think they are every single time. But let's get on to some good news. The Fantastic Four is coming to Rivals, and I don't mean just one person. No, the entire team seems to be joining the roster come Season 1, which, as of the making of this video, is in a few days. So Mr. Fantastic, Sue Storm, The Thing, and Human Torch are all coming. And from what I understand, Mr. Fantastic and Human Torch are duelists, Invisible Woman is a healer, and The Thing is obviously a tank. Apparently Ultron is also coming in Season 1 as well, so that's 5 heroes in its first season, which I think we can all agree that is actually insane. Because Overwatch adds maybe 4 heroes at best in an entire year, so what this says to me is that NetEase is not easing the push at all. They're really trying to come for everything Overwatch is, and then some. Of course, some websites think Rivals has already ran into problems when it comes to their roster, like thegamer.com with their article titled, Marvel Rivals has too many heroes for its own good. According to Jade King of The Gamer, who is one of the journalists there that always complains about there not being enough diversity in things and wanting everything to be pro-trans, is now complaining that Rivals has too many heroes. As Jade King says, NetEase has created a hero shooter using one of the biggest licenses in the world in a free-to-play format where people will want to jump in and play as some of their favorite heroes without restrictions. They don't care about playing them well or trying to learn what their abilities do or the role they fulfill. The goal is to look and feel as cool as you can in the shortest amount of time possible, a power fantasy that sadly is impossible in a game that demands mechanical knowledge like this one. You can pull that off in single-player experiences like Spider-Man or Batman Arkham Asylum, but in those games there is no expectation to perform alongside a team. The only thing you're competing for is your own gratification. Marvel Rivals is different, and it makes a game that looks this incredible and feels so good to play have a skill ceiling that ruins much of its power fantasy from the outset. Those who play it for the aesthetic only to realize what will be required of them will walk away immediately. But maybe they wouldn't have if Rivals was somewhat more mediated in its rollout. From day one, it was absolutely stuffed with content. So let me get this straight. Rivals is bad in this journalist's eyes because the game requires players to not be dog-watered at it and have to use their brains to actually play it. And this is bad because Jade King here wants things dumbed down because they can't grasp the concept of what every hero does. And not only that, but the game has too much content at launch, so the gamer's journalist here is mad that Rivals is a feature-packed game at release and has a high skill ceiling. Games journalists, ladies and gentlemen, they always have the worst takes. The thing is that you don't need to play every hero. At least from the outset, you can choose maybe one hero in each class and learn them. And complaining that you're expected to know how to play to perform, well, yeah, dummy, you're playing a hero shooter. What did you expect? Plus, it's not like the game doesn't have its own practice mode with easy tutorials that allow you to test out all the skills on hand for each hero at your own pace. I immediately went into the practice range when I first booted up the game and started playing, and then I chose Punisher, and then I figured his kit out quickly. From there, I went into a game and then used him, and the rest is history. It's not the game's fault that you're impatient and lack the critical thinking skills required to understand that you're not playing a single-player game, but a multiplayer one. And claiming that Rivals has too high of a skill ceiling is absurd. Just stick to quick matches and then never play competitive. Sure, you'll still run into great players here and there, but largely speaking, everyone's skill levels will vary when you just play in quick match. So you don't need to worry about being the top player or whatever to increase your rank. You know you can just play these kinds of games for fun, right? Like, I play Fortnite with friends. I don't care about competitive over there either. I just play it to have fun, like I do in Rivals. And again, no one is expecting you to know everyone's kits immediately, but thankfully, because it's based on Marvel Comics, I mean, to me anyway, it's pretty self-explanatory what you can expect from each hero by just looking at them if you have even a bit of comic book knowledge. Like, you know Spider-Man is going to swing around and shoot webs, you know that Storm will shoot lightning blasts, and obviously Magneto will have force fields and will hurl metal around and have projectiles. You don't need a deep understanding of everything to enjoy Rivals from the outset. You just need to pick maybe 1 or 2 characters of different classes, and then familiarize yourself with them. Just pick a DPS that you think is cool, then either a healer or a tank, and then practice them in the practice mode, learn their attacks, how they operate, what their super does, and once you're okay, go into real matches. You're going to lose games, everyone does, but just keep going. You'll get better as you play. But claiming that the game is too hard, which just proves the stereotype that games journalists are bad at games yet again, and complaining that the game has too much content is absurd. Jade King of the Gamer explains later on that Rivals shot itself in the foot because all of its so-called heavy hitter A-listers are already in the game. Therefore, they can't make events out of them to bring players in, but I disagree with that too. Marvel has an absurd amount of characters, and personally, I'm more interested in the characters not here than the ones that are currently. Because I would love to see Cable, Ghost Rider, Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, or Carnage, or Daredevil in this game. I think there's so much room for growth, and we already know people like Emma Frost and Jean Grey and Hitmonkey are coming too. I don't think too many heroes is ever a bad thing. All it shows me is that NetEase is clearly hell-bent on defeating Overwatch and stealing their crown. But complaining that a free-to-play game that doesn't limit what you can enjoy and all heroes are unlocked immediately, unlike Overwatch 2, who tried to put new heroes behind the battle pass before the users obviously got mad and then they, retroactively rewinded that decision eventually. I mean, what's there to complain about here? I mean, maybe the skins being pricey, but you don't need to buy them. Realistically, the only thing you should probably need to buy is the battle pass, which isn't even hard to max out because it's not level up based but currency based instead. And you obtain that currency by doing challenges, daily and weekly missions that the game gives you all the time anyways. So you have to pay like what, $10 to $15 per season every 3 or so months to get hours of gameplay? With silky smooth movement, great visuals, and free content updates. What's the issue here exactly? And the characters are actually attractive and don't look like swamp monsters like Western designers seem to be doing all the time. Like, have you seen She-Hulk at times in comics in the past few years? Like, oh my god, dude, look at that face. Someone grab a shotgun and put it out of its misery already. Sue Storm has already won the hearts of players because she's a bombshell, beautiful blonde woman with an athletic build, and don't give me that she's unrealistic. Because the Fantastic Four are literal superheroes. I mean, they were scientists and astronauts before they even became superpowered to begin with. So they were already physically in their prime, both mentally and physically, because that's what's required of astronauts to begin with. So I don't want to see or hear no journalist claiming that Sue is unrealistic. She has to be physically fit and strong looking. She's a freaking astronaut turned superhero. Nobody would believe an astronaut that's like 2 donuts away from seeing the big guy in the sky if his heart rate increases. And it's not like Rivals can't turn future heroes into events either. Clearly Season 1 is a Fantastic Four event, which makes sense. I mean, the movie in the MCU is coming out this year for them too. Doctor Doom was in Season 0. So I would wager probably in the future that NetEase will also have stuff for like Thunderbolts or the Captain America movie that comes out in February as well. Like I said in previous videos, there's so much brand potential on offer here for Rivals to tap into. When Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars comes out, Rivals is going to have a treasure trove of stuff to adapt and bring into the game for players too. I guarantee you that they will have maps designed around Battleworld when Secret Wars and Doomsday comes out. Miles Morales will probably join the game, and whatever suit Tom Holland Spider-Man is wearing in Spidey 4 will definitely be added to the shop in Rivals 2. You can bet your sweet butt cheeks on it. The gamer is pretty tone deaf at the best of times, but even for them, this is a stupid article all things considered. I don't think having an excessive roster of characters is ever a bad thing. If anything, it will just diversify the gameplay and keep people on their toes. And I think especially when it comes to tanks and healers, we need more of them sooner rather than later too. We need plenty of cool healers to come to the game. And I would love really dynamic tanks too, because maybe it'll make these people that only play duelists all the time try something else for once. It just sounds like to me that Jade King here is mad that they are bad at the game and can't grasp what the characters can do, because they're not familiar with these characters enough. Because if they were taking one look at, say, Iron Fist, and then you can immediately tell what he's going to be about. The dude is called Iron Fist. He's going to punch and kick the crap out of everybody. And the same goes with like Hawkeye or Venom. It's not hard to look at them and go, yeah, Hawkeye is probably going to try to snipe me, and Venom will be all up in my face and trying to eat me and slap me around like their comic book counterparts do as well. I just hope they don't run into the Overwatch problem where they just keep adding DPS characters over the other classes. Look, I know DPS is popular, it always will be because people like killing stuff in these games. But you gotta add other roles, more variety to incentivize these DPS one-trick ponies into changing their ways once in a while. Add extra rewards and reasons for players to choose a healer or tank over DPS. Maybe in the next season you can get bonus chrono tokens if you play a tank for 5 matches, or maybe a healer too. And through smart gameplay additions like that, things can and will change for the better. And as long as Rivals never goes down the path of pandering or wokeness, they'll be doing just fine. And Jade King of the Gamer here needs to stop complaining, open practice mode, and maybe spend 5 minutes of your time trying to understand how a hero works, instead of just throwing yourself mindlessly into online matches not knowing what anything even does. Finally, the MarySue.com had their article titled "Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Isn't Even Out Yet and Racists Are Already Complaining." So the new Disney Plus show has race-swapped Norman Osborn into a black guy and Harry Osborn into a black, they, them, gay man, woman. I honestly have no idea. Apparently, if you don't like this, you're racist. You ask me, I think the show looks horrible anyway, and no, I will not be watching it. But I think taking what Disney is doing here with this show that is very obviously activist driven and placing it up against Rivals is proof enough. One product shows what happens when you don't depict characters how they look in the comics and then you see the reaction, and the other shows how fans react when things respect the source material. I also find it funny that this new Spider-Man show has everyone basically being black or brown, and then Peter is like the only sole white guy. Yet he's also the only one that's capable of saving people and has real agency to actually change the environment around him for the better. It's hilarious that Disney basically turned Peter into a white savior for the other colored folks without realizing it themselves. Obviously, I can't show the trailer here due to copyright, but if you go watch it on YouTube, you'll see what I mean. Almost everybody is non-white, which just makes this underlying message even funnier. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the Mary Sue is like the gamer. Another tone-deaf website ran by activists who know nothing and expect everything of the things they barely engage with anyway. Marvel Rivals proves if you respect the customer base and give them what they want, you'll just get rewarded. This new show at least has Spider-Man in it, so of course people will give it a chance and watch it, but will it get another season? I don't know, and I really don't care. But please don't expect me to review it, because I could care less about a show where they're still race-swapping people in 2025. Also, Norman Osborn gives Peter the Fantastic Four suit in the show apparently. Okay? I don't know. Who cares? The show looks bad anyways. It doesn't matter. But now that I think about it, since the Fantastic Four are showing up in Rivals soon, I wonder if Spider-Man will get a future Foundation suit himself. That would actually be cool. Anyway, that's what I got for you right now. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think as always. Subscribe. Thanks to my patrons and members, and I'll see you guys soon.